Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting straight to something big, a huge power shift that's happening in communication. We've got this one source, an article, and it lays out something that sounds simple, but it's pretty profound. Basically, the idea that only big companies with massive budgets can make professional, persuasive media. Those days might be over. We're looking at what the source actually calls the aha moment, that specific point where someone realizes, hey, my ideas aren't stuck just because I don't have a production crew or tons of cash. And we're focusing on this one project that seems to prove it, that having a great idea is really the only thing stopping you now.
Right. And capturing that realization, that aha, for you listening, that's kind of our mission today. We're unpacking how one single person used AI tools to basically sidestep the whole traditional media production process, creating stuff designed not just to, inform, but to actually convince. The source calls it explainer and convincer media. We really need to look at how this became so accessible.
And the story behind the creator, that's what makes it so compelling, right? The person who started this whole project, Purple.Press, the article says he was a Navy veteran, driving an Uber, actually.
Yeah.
No studio, no editing team, built the whole proof of concept with just a laptop, his idea, and AI tools that are apparently easy to find, often free, that jump Uber driver to potentially media creator in minutes. It's kind of staggering.
It really is. It fundamentally shifts the conversation about, who gets a voice and who actually gets heard.
Yeah.
If we look at the proof they talk about in the source material, the really key thing isn't just that they used AI, but how totally they used it.
Exactly. When you check out the demo media, they mention whether it's the video or the audio conversation they created. The AI handled the voice, the visuals, the slides, syncing them up the timing, the transitions, even picking the background music. It was all done by the AI. It wasn't just helping a human editor. It sort of replaced the need for that whole complex team.
And that, I think, is the crucial point for anyone listening who feels maybe overwhelmed by all the information out there or just doesn't have the resources. The creator really stressed this. You don't need super specialized skills or fancy, expensive gear. All you need to kickstart this whole process is a solid, well-written source document, basically, your core idea written down well. And then just a short creative prompt to tell the AI the kind of tone and style you're going for. The machine does the heavy lifting, turning that idea into something polished you can share widely.
Okay, I have to pause there because honestly, that's the bit that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. We've seen AI write text, sure.
Yeah.
But taking one document and turning it into sophisticated, professional, and versatile media, that seems like a massive leap.
It is a leap.
So if I'm listening to this right now, maybe in my car, and you're saying this same core message could also exist as a slick explainer video with graphics, how does the AI make sure it works well in both formats, that the quality is there?
That really speaks to the AI's ability to synthesize. It's designed to anticipate how different people consume information. So if you're an audio commuter, like you said, driving or walking, the AI is set up to transform the content into this engaging two-person chat format. It uses distinct, pretty natural-sounding synthetic voices. It creates a conversational pace. But for someone who's more visual, it carefully matches parts of the text with really relevant, professional-looking visual slides. It's all about meeting the audience where they are. And that's really the definition of effective AI explainer and convincer media, isn't it? It's designed to make ideas stick, make them memorable, and hopefully make them actionable.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that a bit more then. If the idea, the written document, is the fuel, we need to understand the engine, I guess. The thing that turns that text into these different formats, audio, video. The source mentions a specific method they use, calls it the TAV triple play. What is that exactly?
Yeah, the TAV triple play. Think of it as the architecture. It's what lets that human creativity get multiplied almost instantly. It's like a vertical integration, starting from that one core piece of writing. So the first part is T for text. That's your foundation. It has to be a well-thought-out piece, a blog post, maybe a policy paper, a script explaining your idea clearly. That text is the single source of truth.
Okay, text. Then it jumps to A for audio. How smart is this audio generation? We're kind of used to AI just reading text out loud in one voice. But the article suggests this creates a proper two-person dialogue.
It does, and it's Much more nuanced than just assigning paragraphs randomly. That's why it doesn't sound robotic.
Uh,
The AI actually analyzes the structure of the text. It looks for things like questions or counterpoints or places where an explanation could naturally shift, and it assigns those segments to two different synthetic voices. It generates this believable back and forth. It really gives the impression of a real conversation, which, is huge for reaching people on their commute or listen to podcasts.
okay, that makes sense. And then the final piece, V for video. This sounds like where the real complexity comes in. If I write something technical, say about supply chains, how does the AI know what visuals to use? How does it stop it from just looking like, random stock photos that don't really connect?
Yeah, good question. That comes down to the power of that initial creative prompt you give it and how specific and clear your source document is. The AI is trained to understand and synthesize concepts. It's not just grabbing random images. It aims to create a synchronized visual explainer, so professional narration synced with slides that actually reinforce the key themes from your text.
Right.
Clarity and reinforcement, that's the goal. The human provides the solid source material, the idea, the facts, and the AI makes sure that message stays consistent and clear across all the formats, text, audio, and video.
Wow, okay. So from one piece of writing, you genuinely get this 3x communication power, as they call it. You're reaching people who prefer to read, people who prefer to listen, and people who prefer to watch, all at once, without needing 3 different production teams or spending triple the time and money.
Exactly. And this is the really important clarification, I think. The AI isn't replacing the human spark here. It's an amplifier, a massive amplifier. The quality of what comes out still totally depends on the human input, your idea, your insights, the facts, how will you structure that first document.
So garbage in, garbage out still applies.
Absolutely. The AI just provides the execution, the professional polish, and the scale that used to be financially out of reach for almost everyone.
We've kind of established the how now this tech works, it's powerful. But, the name Purple.Press, it sounds maybe a bit, I don't know, corporate or generic for something so potentially revolutionary. Let's talk about the why, the intention behind it, because that's where, for me, it got really interesting. The founder didn't build this tool just to, sell more stuff. He built it to try and tackle one of the toughest problems we face today.
How do we have a civil conversation?
That's right. And that vision really lifts this whole thing beyond just being a cool tech demo. The main goal was using these creation tools to actually model fairness, to try and improve public discourse. The point wasn't to just make partisan shouting matches louder or slicker. It was to show how this tech could help foster respectful, informed debate. And they set up a specific process for trying to achieve that civic fairness. It involves 3 main steps. First, they gather verified source documents, really trying to get credible information representing both sides of a tricky issue.
Okay, both sides.
Yeah.
Crucial. It's crucial. Second, they use the AI to generate clear, factual explainer videos for each side independently, keeping them neutral.
Right.
And third, and this is the bit about modeling behavior, they simulate a respectful 2-person debate that models what fairness sounds like, using that AI audio tool we talked about.
We definitely need an example to make this concrete. The source brought up California Proposition 50. Now, for anyone listening who isn't familiar, these California propositions are often super complex, really controversial, lots of money involved. They tend to split voters right down the middle. So, yeah, a perfect test case for modeling debate.
It absolutely was. Prop 50 dealt with legislative rules in California, suspension powers, all right, highly contentious stuff. So instead of putting out media that leaned one way or the other, Purple.Press used that TAV triple play to create materials that just impartially laid out the facts and arguments for voting yes, and then separate, equally neutral materials explaining the no position.
Okay, but what made that approach really different? The source highlights that the AI-generated stuff wasn't just balanced, it was also editable. What does that mean? Making the content editable. How does that help civic discussion?
That really gets to transparency and ultimately trust, doesn't it? It means the media wasn't presented like some final, polished, untouchable thing from a big network studio. If someone watching or listening, maybe an expert, maybe just a regular citizen, felt the AI got a fact wrong or missed some important nuance, the original source document it was based on was right there, available to see.
Ah, okay, so you can check the work.
Exactly. It invites people to scrutinize it, maybe even collaborate on improving it, which is kind of the opposite of how traditional top-down media works. It brings accountability right into the explanation itself.
And it seems obvious that while this started with a focus on civic conversation, the application of this tech goes way beyond politics, right?
Oh, absolutely. This whole framework, creating balanced, high-quality text, audio, and video content from just one source document. It empowers pretty much anyone, not just political campaigns or news outlets. Think about a student, maybe, needing to explain a complex thesis for history class,
Yeah.
or a CEO trying to get a global team up to speed quickly on a new strategy, or, a neighborhood activist trying to explain a zoning proposal clearly to residents.
Right.
This gives them the tools to explain complex stuff clearly, train people efficiently, build a professional presence, all without needing a huge media budget. I mean, the founders started this between Uber rides. It shows you could definitely use it between meetings or classes.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean? For us listening, for the future of how we communicate. Let's just summarize this big power shift we've been talking about. It seems the future of persuasion, it doesn't just belong to the groups with the deepest pockets anymore, or the ones who can afford the glossiest ads.
No, that kind of financial gatekeeping seems to be crumbling. The core idea from this deep dive is pretty clear, I think. Power is shifting to those who can explain their ideas clearly, visually, and humanely. AI is stepping in as this tool that gives ordinary people the power to create and share professional-level media, the kind of stuff that used to be exclusively made by expensive studios and highly trained experts. So if you're asking who wins the future of communication, it's probably whoever explains best.
And if you're listening and you're curious to actually see this TAV triple play in action to really judge the quality we've been describing, the source material points you directly to the proof. You can apparently watch the Proposition 50 demo debate online, or you can listen to the AI-generated podcast version of that same debate.
Yeah.
It lets you literally see and hear how these tools are being used to try and model that fairness and clarity we've been discussing. It confirms it's not just theory.
Definitely worth checking out. And if this whole conversation, resonates with you,
Yeah.
the accessibility, the potential quality, the speed, it probably means you're recognizing the potential for your own ideas.
Mm.
Because the creator's final thought in the article, it's pretty provocative, and I think it sums up this whole shift perfectly. He says, the real revolution isn't artificial intelligence. It's human imagination finally upgraded.
Think about that. We've been talking about tools that let you move beyond just being someone who consumes content. AI is becoming this lever, this tool that can help you become a powerful creator, a teacher, a persuader in your own field, making sure your best ideas are the ones that actually get out there and get heard. That's definitely something worth exploring.